So yeah, this is it.
It was an old warehouse. They used to have all the big machinery up here, literally making the jewellery.
GDV is around 1.2 million. We purchased the freehold of the building for 380,000. Learn as much as you can, get that experience, get that track record. Things will come into place. You'll be able to do slightly bigger sites each time.
I see a day to see a job is what it made me. Getting bravery, see it's mine slavery. 9 to 5, no sir. That's what I be really speaking. Cause even though this job pissed me off, obviously, we'll make a nigga.
So guys, welcome to this week's video. Off the back of last week's video where I mentioned the good news about our North London scheme of 23 apartments, we're super busy in the office, ramping up to start on site soon.
Just give me one shot.
So we are on our way to Sutton, where we are going to be meeting two budding developers, property developers, Dom and Steve. They are both in their mid-30s. They've only been working together for about a year and a half, so they are now business partners, and it'll be interesting to see what different skill sets they both bring into the business. And and what the dynamic is between them. But yeah, on our way to Sutton. I've never been there before. It's in the southwest outskirts of London. It's been a while since we've done a video like this where, you know, we've gone to visit property developers on location at their site to hear their story. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, boom, the sound consumes, get the ill style and this shit go boom.
So I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone that sent through questions for last week's video. I had a lot of questions. I obviously couldn't get through them all, but I hope I gave you a good selection. So for anyone who missed that, go and check out last week's video. I did a Q&A session on that video.
Sound, it's not dead, resurrected right now.
All right, guys. Hey, how you doing, Dom?
Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to finally meet you in person. Right, so yeah, this is it.
Sparkle in your eye, I'm the star that got you struck. Lights out, I had to learn to live in the dark. Water pressure real high, I had to swim.
Is it the Watch Factory you're calling it?
Yeah, we call it the Watch Factory. It's the 2 stories above the shop.
Yeah, so the main portion of the building is at the back, right?
Yeah. And it's a commercial to resi conversion under full planning for 4 apartments.
Nice.
And it used to be an old warehouse and jewellery watchmaking. So we've kind of taken that history, that story into the development, and you'll see inside it's kind of quite a characterful building.
Cool. Should we? Let's go and have a look at it.
Go have a look.
So this is the main access to the site, but it is eventually going to be privately gated. At the moment, you've got various builders' cars.
Yeah.
So this is the main access.
This land belongs to this building here that's being redeveloped. Right. So when they're in planning at the moment, so when they do that, they will close this all off. There won't be any cars, and it will be a kind of private gated access, which is much better for resi units.
So how did you both start your journey in property development?
Basically, been in construction for about 20 years, ever since I left. Well, before I left school.
Okay.
Started as on site as a trade. Worked my way up. Decided to go back to university and study architecture.
Okay.
However, I found that I preferred the construction element of it.
Yeah.
So went back on site, and then I've been in higher level management for the last 10, 11 years.
What does that mean?
So site management for national developers like Barratt Homes,
right,
Bewley Homes, Crayfern Homes.
So you got a really good understanding of developments,
yes.
Pretty big developments as well,
big
how they operate, how they...
Experience-wise, I've worked out I've probably built in excess of £200 million worth of GDV.
Okay.
Through various sites, and I thought I would give it a go myself.
Yeah, so
you didn't get a cut of that 200 million.
You were fed up of doing it for other people, so you're like, want to give it a go.
Yeah. And when you sit in their end of year statements and they're making £1 billion a year, and you're like, oh, I'm only getting a small slice of that.
Yeah.
Surely it can't be that hard. We started the business about 2 years ago. Started doing a few small little flips, with a bit of our own cash. Started reaching out.
What was your first one?
So my first one was literally, it was an old house, old terraced house, typical 3-bed terraced house in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
We literally gutted it, small extension on the back. We flipped it, made about 40 grand profit.
Okay.
So not too bad for a first one. And then I joined the Developers Club, which is where I met Dom. Started moving on to commercial to residential conversions.
And that's what this is a commercial to resi conversion, right?
This is a commercial to resi, which is what our main focus is on at the minute.
At the moment. What's your story, Dom?
I went to architecture school, qualified as an architect, worked in practice for about 5 years in London.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go into development. I bought a site in Suffolk, which already had planning permission. I bought it as a 3-bedroom detached house, put it back in for planning, increased it to 4-bed, so squeezed the envelope a little bit. Yeah. But I sold that, and I've done another couple of refurbished houses in Addiscombe and Croydon, which I've sold as well. And then had this project in the pipeline for about 2 years in legals, kind of waiting for it to get going. And eventually, we managed to, we bought it in September 2024. Cool. And then, that kind of opened the doors to some bigger sites. Yeah, and, it's been going on in the background.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, similar to my story, I kind of started off in, doing the house flips, and they eventually got bigger in size and GDV. So, similar kind of thing. So this one we're going to be seeing now, is this like your kind of biggest one today? Because up until now you've been focused, dealt with.
It's the first multi-unit
one.
And it's made us realise that we like to do like quite unique projects. So with this one, we'll explain a bit more as we go inside, but it's got a lot of original features. Which we're highlighting, and it's what we sort of, as developers, we want to push first. Our sites are quite unique, commercial to resi. You'll get a little bit of added extra value with our sites.
Yeah. So this is the old. Is it the old factory?
Yes, this is the old factory
here,
which is doing jewellery, watch repair.
And when we were at the front, there's a commercial unit on the ground floor, which is not part of yours, but
it's
got
not
the
part
uppers.
Of us. Yeah, we've got the uppers, which was empty storage space for the shop
and
at the time.
Was it connected with the uppers, the factory bit element?
There was a staircase that led in, which we've infilled and taken out. So now they're two separate demises under separate leases, but we bought the freehold. So
you put in a prior approval application?
No, it's full planning actually.
Full planning?
Yeah, full planning, because we've got the windows and changes. Yeah. The front is a conservation area as well.
This is when we changed.
Yeah. New staircase. So there'll be a new private wall. So this is the party wall. Hasn't been built yet between the corridor and flat 1. We've had a few delays on this one with this steel coming out. The existing stairs, exactly.
And then we literally wanted to flip them, so they went up this way.
Yeah.
But because of the new regs, the risers and the goings weren't to building regs.
No.
And as we changed it to fit building regs, that steel was too low, so we couldn't get the headroom.
Yeah.
So now we've got to cut that steel beam, put a new steel beam all the way in. And then we
just to make the opening about 300 or 400 mil bigger.
Just to get the head.
It stopped this whole flat being built because we can't leave the party wall until the stairs in. We can't make the new opening. It's all just kind of a bit of a blockage on the programme, but you just kind of have to accept it.
Having to do a redesign when you're halfway into the build. But that's conversion, isn't it? That's something you have to get over. Because it was an old warehouse, that is why there's so many steels, because they used to have all the big machinery up here, literally making the jewellery and the watches.
Okay, let's go and have a look. Let's go.
Going into flat 2.
So this is kind of your entrance hall. We had to take this chimney out. Again, we had a issue with this steel not going into the wall, so we were going to cut that back further, but has to stay in. I'm into flat 3. That's the main bedroom there. We've got bathroom, electric cylinder, so we've got fully electric heating and hot water here. It's the bathroom, and then this is the kitchen and living room for this flat here, looking out onto the high street.
So how did you fund this? How did you fund this development?
So we purchased it with a mixture of our funds, investor funds as debt, and development finance loan as well. And then we're drawing down the construction budget each month. They put in £70,000.
£70,000, which we used because we're doing like a refurb loan rather than development finance.
Right.
We have to fund the cost of the build up front.
Right. Yeah.
Rather than they give us the fund for the build costs, we pay it out and then we give them the invoices and they pay it back.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had to have an extra
70 grand
60K in our bank account.
Right.
to cash flow everything before, rather than them paying the invoices.
Which is where the investor came in and helped. So we gave them a 12-month term at
was it
13% return on their investment, and they get paid out at the end. So the bank get paid out, they get paid out, and then we get the profit at the end.
Could you have used development finance on this? Was it just working out better?
We had lots of options, didn't we? This one just ended up being
the rates and
cheapest, and they also gave the most for the purchase cost as well. But then we ended up having to get more investment anyway to have the cash to do the. It's just every lender seems to work in a different way, different terms.
Definitely,
some of them pay this, some of them don't cover that, some of them don't cover leaks, and then some of them, it's like, well, the facility's yours, you just. Use it how you want to. You've got the contingency budget as well, which we had to do. We had to draw down from in the first couple of months because when we went onto the roof, it was like way more work than we anticipated, which happens quite a lot on old existing buildings.
So what's the GDV on the site? It's 4 flats, right?
Yeah, it's 4 flats. So the GDV is around 1.2 million for the total.
Right.
We purchased the freehold of the building for 380,000.
Okay.
And the whole construction costs, including professional fees and everything, is around 350. Plus we've got our arrangement fees, the cost of the lending.
Yeah.
We've got our investor finance to pay. That's 13% on 70 grand. Should make a good profit at the end.
Yeah. And it's also important what we do with our builds is we also pay ourselves in a PM fee as we're developing the project.
Okay, so you factor that in.
So we factor that in within our professional fees. We allow for us to have a monthly invoice for PM. It just helps with cash flow in and make sure that we don't have to wait until the end to get paid. We can pay our bills.
Because that's what a lot of developers struggle with, right? With the cash flow, because you obviously get paid at the end when everyone else has been paid off. So
the way we managed to get it in with the bank though is because we're not using main contractor. So if you're doing a JCT with a main contractor, they would put that cost in for them to be paid to manage it. So we basically just take that out of what would have gone to them.
Yes.
So we're building it for much cheaper, but then that extra bit, instead of going to an external site manager, it goes to us to manage the projects. And that's actually good because then we can really spend a lot of time doing it properly.
That's a good way of doing it.
That's our biggest value add really with both of our experiences is we can get stuck in with the build. We can maximise the value and the pound per square foot, and we can build it for cheaper than the main contractor can build it because we're doing it ourselves.
I mean, this is still relatively small site, but when you move on to larger ones, do you think you will still be building them out yourselves?
Yes.
Yeah, we are doing that.
As we scale and as we grow, we will definitely bring it all still in-house, but we will build our own team around that.
Okay.
So for our next site in Eastleigh, Southampton, which is 22 units, we've got our QS, we've got our structural engineer. Dom's the architect still, I'm the head of the main contractors, but we've got an on-site site manager that's going to do the day-to-day.
Okay,
So it will still be in-house, but it will be sort of our team rather than, again, giving it to a main contractor. They'll put their 20% on
margin.
it.
So it's 1.2 GDV, so you said 4 flats. Are they 2-bedroom flats? What's the schedule of accommodation? Is it 1s, 2s and 3s?
There's 3 1-bed flats and there's a 2-bed flat upstairs.
Okay.
Which we managed to get a loft room in to the top, which we'll show you because you can't see now, but these floors were all dropped.
Right.
So we dropped this floor by 350 mil
to increase the height.
Yeah, and we dropped the one above. So this floor was originally coming in at the top of those windows. We put this steel in. So we demolished the whole of this existing floor, dropped it, did the same again in the loft, and that got the extra bedroom.
Adding that extra bedroom, we reckon we've added around £80,000 worth of GDV just by dropping both of these floors, and the cost of works has probably cost around 15 grand. So the profit per pound square foot there is massive.
Should we have a look at that one?
Let's go have a look. So we'll go up to flat 3 and 4. So you can see a lot more of the way the old warehouse was up here.
The steel beams.
Right? So we're exposing these. You've got the original lifting beam here.
Okay.
The warehouse loading doors, so keeping those is a bit of a feature as well. So this is where they were loading materials.
So the old warehouse doors,
Yeah. So they're the one. So we're going to put a little Juliet balcony railing on that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a nice feature. Yeah.
When we bought the building, it was all just covered up.
Yeah.
Behind plasterboard, so we kind of unveiled that and thought, oh, actually, we should make this into a feature. Yeah. So
what's going where on this one? Like, where's the kitchen?
So we're in flat 3 at the minute, which is one of the CGIs that we've had professionally made.
Yeah.
With really high finishes, and you'll be able to see that we're currently standing in the living area.
Okay.
So behind you there will be the TV, sort of some units onto the Juliet balcony, and then around us here a bit of a dining area into the kitchen. So it's got lovely dual aspect windows, nice open space, nice high ceilings.
Yeah.
Like we said before, the exposed beams, bringing all the features back. And for a 1-bed flat, it's a really good size.
Can I just ask what inspired you to go ahead with this site, this development? What was the reason you kind of went for it?
It's quite an interesting building, so it was we wanted to convert this one as an old warehouse. It's not your kind of like quite standard commercial building. It was been vacant for about 10 years, so it was kind of crying out to be converted into something to be used. And also it was a direct to vendor letter that I sent to the owner who lived in Ireland, and there was a long process of how we're going to structure this deal, but the condition of the building was quite poor, so I factored that into the purchase price, but basically was getting at a really good value as well.
So it was a completely off-market deal, direct to vendor.
Yeah, it was.
How did you know about this though? How did you find this?
I was using mapping software, and I kind of know the local area anyway, and kind of a combination of walking down the high street and looking at vacant properties.
There's also a lot of development in the area as well, so we knew it had a lot of potential, because you'll see around there's big blocks of flats going over there, there's big blocks of flats going over there, and it's right throwing up all these new build flats that are all the same similar little boxes, and we thought we could deliver something
unique,
bring back a lot of the original features. There's a nice bit of history behind it, being an old watch factory, and there's like a bit of London, bringing back a bit of London history.
And what was this mapping software that you were using?
It was Nimbus at the time. I was using Nimbus.
Just for the benefit of the viewers, how would you go about finding the name or the person who owns this? Like, what was the process you went through to kind of
you identify the site, you do some diligence when you eventually think it might be a goer. You can purchase the information off the land registry. So that has, they had the leasehold information, and it also has the freehold information.
So you buy the title.
Buy the title, which is available from land registry, and you can send them a letter basically, and see what comes back. Most people don't respond, but every so often you get someone who might.
What was the time period between you sending the letter and you getting a response? Was this?
It was quite quick actually. I think within the first couple of weeks he gave me a call.
Oh wow!
But he told me he said he had loads. He said he constantly gets letters about it. But I think a combination of catching him at the right time to sell, because he was going into retirement, so he wanted to kind of like. Well, he kept the shop, so he's still got the rent for that shop, but he's freed up the equity from the rest of the building basically, and also. He just said that my letter kind of just like stood out, and it just like there was something about it that he just thought, actually might give this guy a call back. But you can send out a lot of letters and you don't get any response. So sometimes it's just a little bit about timing and luck.
It's a bit of a numbers game as well. And
you take out the agents, so you save on fees with the agents.
We did the planning ourselves, so you get the uplift from that. So I was buying it as an empty building, which has its value as this X, and turned it into a development. By getting planning.
And were you quite confident in the planning when you?
I think so. Once I went to see it, checked all the measurements, checked we could meet national space standards. We got a few light surveys done to demonstrate that there's enough light going into the existing building, stuff like that. I think we were quite confident we were going to get planning, which means we were happy to pay for that planning at our risk. Because you can't guarantee you're going to get permission. But
how did you structure the deal? Was it an option agreement, or was it subject to planning?
It was a subject to planning, so it's subject to planning. But there was quite a lot of drawn out legal work to do for the downstairs. So we actually got planning and then couldn't purchase it for a while.
It was really important that Dom had built this relationship with the vendor. Because a lot of other developers or a lot of other corporate sort of people would have just walked away.
Yeah.
But it was.
You have to build that kind of rapport
you have
with the
you
person.
have to be very patient if you still can see a vision of that being good development.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you might just think, you know what, I could just go and buy another site and I'll get this.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got to stick at it basically. You know, you've got to really be quite. You've got to have a lot of perseverance to make sure that you can actually finally get it.
Patience, but not be too pushy as well. I guess.
Yeah. We're actually buying another site off him just up the road as well. So he's got another project in Sutton. Wow. So there's another good thing about building up that relationship.
Yeah. What's that one? Can you tell us?
It's a high street site in Sutton, 4-unit conversion and a 4-unit new build at the back. So that'll be 8 apartments. GDV is about 2.9 million.
Right. Okay.
And that's same vendor, same process. So we were just trying to get in this one going, and then we're going to look to purchase that next year.
Okay.
So from that one letter, I managed to find 2 sites with a combined GDV over 3 million.
Yeah. We're going to have a look at one more, right? Over there. That's kind of a bit more further ahead, that one.
Yeah, so we're nearing up, closing up dry lining in flat 4, which is the 2-bed flat that we've managed to add the most value by dropping the steels and the floor to gain the bedroom in the roof.
What's your exit strategy? Once this is all done, what's the plan with this development?
So
selling the units?
Actually, they're literally gone live this month on Rightmove. We're using Bernard Marcus as our agent, so we're looking to sell all 4 units.
What led to that decision? Why?
I think it being our first development together and the resale values are really quite good in Sutton.
Yeah.
We're trying to draw out as much of the profit as we can because we're in a real growth stage at the moment. We want to add to our cash pot of developments that we can do.
Just opens up more opportunities for new sites as we scale up.
Yeah.
Get all our equity out of this one and the profit. Yeah. And then that can help us grow the business.
Should we look at this final unit?
Yeah. So this is the entrance hall for this flat. So this leads up to the extra bedroom. So we couldn't put a dormer on this conservation area. The planning wouldn't allow it because you set a precedent of all the roofs having dormers. Correct. So we just put in roof lights. You can see this is where the old floor came in.
Right. Yeah.
So where we dropped both. Yeah. So when we bought the building, you could just about stand up in this loft. Yeah. But right in the centre at my height, it was about 1.9. Right. Or about 2 meters. Yes. We kept saying, we're kind of like, there's got to be something we can do with this space because it's like not bigger. Yeah. So we're going to drop one floor, and then it's quite common in a lot of HMOs. You actually just take out both floors. You leave. So there was one point where this whole brickwork of a whole building upstairs was just one big void because we'd taken out both floors. Yeah. Put them both back in. And it got us the extra height, got us this extra bedroom. Yeah. So it's definitely worth doing.
Definitely worth it, and it's not bad.
So this would be like the double bedroom, and then the one downstairs. It's more like a sort of spare bed, a home office. So it's kind of good for our market, which is young couples and first-time buyers. So
any pound per square foot you can gain, is definitely worth it, especially in high GDV areas like your Londons. Because it's like £550-600 a square foot. So you think any bit of floor space that you can gain. Yeah,
and if that means dropping the floor to increase the height on the roof, so be it.
We think we've added about 70 or 80k in GDV by turning this into 2-bed. Because the one below is on at 275, and this flat is on at 350. For being a 2-bed, so it's about for the asking price about 75,000 extra, and it probably costs us 15 to 20 to do it.
So was the planning process quite smooth with this one?
I'd say it's relatively quite smooth. Yeah. If we really wanted to, we probably could have got it through PD, just about. Yeah. But because we wanted to do some other works, new windows and stuff, it just kind of made a bit more sense to do it through planning. But it's almost like a PD scheme anyway, so the planners can't really
say too much. And they didn't want too much out of us. We had to put the conservation skylights in the front of the roof.
Yeah. Even though this is where we've got that bulkhead where the bedroom is, right, and then this double height is kind of all vaulted, so you've got a lot of light coming in here with those windows and Yeah, it's quite unusual for.
It's created an interesting volume of space, hasn't it?
Yeah. So that's like 3 metre ceiling height to the top of that.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit lower, but it doesn't really feel that low because of this. And then you're going to have your kitchen units along the living room here, and it's quite a good view out onto the high space.
So some of the main challenges we have had is mainly, obviously you will get it with conversions, but it's just getting them up to the new building regs.
Yeah.
So bits with the U values and stuff like that can be sort of unforeseen costs where you have to put insulation back plasterboard.
Yes, this is all insulated plasterboard on all the external walls.
We have to do acoustic flooring in here. Even though we was really close to what the regulations are, we just wanted to give ourselves a bit of a buffer just to make sure that we meet everything.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's the fire rating stuff now, so you put in as much pink board as you can basically, but obviously it's another added cost that you need to allow for.
Always better to get it right the first time, right? Rather than doing it retrospectively.
But upgrading the existing floors, even though this is a new one, but the timber joist floors are just like terrible for sound and fire. So to get those timber joist floors up to current building regs is a lot of work. You've got to insulate between fireboard and acoustic on top.
I know. Yeah. Is that the only main challenge on this one? Like, because it's a conversion. What about access?
Logistically, it's quite difficult.
Logistically, obviously, being on a high street is quite tight. Where we had the scaffolding on the front of the shop, being on a high street, we have to have a licence. And where the shop was also in constant use, we had to be mindful of that. Yeah. When it was coming up to the Christmas period, obviously we wanted to have we promised them that we would have the scaffold down before December, their busiest period. So you just have to be mindful of what everything is going around as a whole, and working towards that. We did manage to do it, but it did get a bit tight.
But we designed it so that the front section of scaffold was separate to the side, so it could be striked separately. So we'd planned it all in from the beginning, that we knew the front works, get the roof done, get the facade done, get the scaffold down, keep the shop happy. We've brick cleaned the acid clean as well. Yeah. Painted. So there was a lot of work to do to it. It was like a proper refurbishment of the facade. Plus the roof and the windows.
And you guys have been working together now for about a year and a half, right?
Yeah,
or maybe.
Nearly 2
years.
Working together.
I think we known each other about 2.5 years, and we joined. It was kind of just be like a JV for one project for this one. Yeah. So we shared some of the equity input and just thought we'd sort of share the skill set basically.
Yeah. So do you both bring something different to the table?
Absolutely. Yeah. So although we're quite similar in our sort of mindsets and how we work together, obviously I've been the construction element and Dom brings the planning and the architectural element. So as a team, that's two key players there that straight away. We've got an invested interest. Yes. And two, we've got like a business invested as well. So it definitely it's worked together so far.
And so combined together, it just means that you somehow you can get those sites which maybe you wouldn't be able to do. You can do it competitively.
And we always look. Our main two things are how can we add the most amount of value, and how can we save on costs? And where it's our projects, they're at the forefront of our mind. So it's always like, where can we save a bit of money and still do a good product? And how can we uplift the value so we're maximising the GDV?
We brought this one together, got on site, and then actually thought, maybe we can actually properly join forces. Similar scale, kind of.
Similar to how things panned out with. Me and my business partner as well. And it allows you to pool your money in together and move on to the slightly larger sites and scale
up. Quicker,
See, this is that old warehouse store you were just mentioning, right? Earlier on when we were inside the space. So you're going to keep this feature because it's basically part of the history. And this whole facade, actually, this is... You've restored bits and you're going to be changing the windows.
So we cleaned the brickwork and we're going to get the new windows in. They're going in a couple of weeks.
Start to see that it was the whole factory look.
Exactly. That's what we're trying to, not so much get rid of it, but just trying to bring it back to life.
So it's character, isn't it?
So we could bring the character back of the doors, put aluminium crystal windows in for the warehouse style industrial look, which will complement the beams inside. and then pick out the heads of the windows in a nice bright white, and it just gives it a new lease of life.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. But we can go up onto the roof.
Let's go. Let's go up to the roof.
The old lifting beam, which would have had the pulley system on it. This is how you load goods in and out from, from the ground floor.
That's right in front of the doors that we were
exactly.
at, right?
So that goes into the doors. So that's
really
kind of
cool.
like a original factory feature.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to refurbish this and keep it exposed. So yeah, it's quite cool.
How old is this building? What's the date?
So this extension part from this part was built in 1930.
Okay.
And then the original row of shops is 1905.
1905.
So it's two separate bits. So
Yeah.
this part was added separately.
Okay.
So another main challenge we had was trying to bring back the old 1905 roof. So nothing square, which roofers love, which is particularly difficult with the new slates that we were putting on. It was old natural Welsh slate that was coming off, which was a bit more adaptable, shall we say, to the non-square edges. But now we put the new roof in with the 5 new Veluxes, and it brings a lot of character back to it without making it too modern.
Yeah.
We've also gone with the Alvitra GRP system on the roof, which would give us another 20-year warranty. So it just gives us peace of mind if we're keeping the freehold.
But we've done a warm deck roof here.
Yes.
So we insulated on top of the existing roof. So we put 150mm rigid insulation. Yeah. And then the waterproofing. Yeah. But it's just a good way of doing it because you don't lose any space inside. You don't have any moisture issues. Yeah. Everything's wrapped up. It's totally sealed, and it's going to be, touch wood, just to be totally fine for the next 25 years.
Good for the U values. And another reason why we upped it on the EPC is we're installing solar panels on the roof. Yeah. And which is another perk of the sales as well, because each flat is going to get around 3 or 4 solar panels each.
Okay.
Yeah. So this whole flat roof is we've got 16 panels going on. Yeah. 14 panels.
So it's going to go directly into the individual flats.
Yeah, so we've got 4 inverters for each flat. So instead of just putting it to the landlord supply, which would benefit us, we've decided to just put it onto each flat. Yeah. And it reduces their bills, it increases the EPC. Yeah. It kind of future-proofs the building for a long time.
So you mentioned you got that other scheme.
That's in Eastleigh.
So that's kind of next. The next big one you're going to be focusing on.
Right? So we purchased it just before Christmas, and we're just starting the strip out now.
Yeah, and that's the commercial to resi one. That's the commercial you're going to go through prior approval.
We've already got the planning. So the way we structured that deal was we did a delayed completion.
Yes.
So we exchanged, and while we were doing the legals for exchange and the delayed completion of 3 months, we put it through PD. Yep. We got the PD to convert to 22 flats, but it's a totally different building to this. It was built in 1985 for Barclays. It's a modern building. It's already got cavity wall insulation. It's got double glazing. It's got concrete floors which already meet the fire and acoustic performance.
So piece of cake.
So piece of cake. So it's a much bigger site. It's a much bigger site, much bigger construction value. Yeah. It's about 3 or 4 times as big as this one. Yeah. But I think once we've done the strip out and got some of the new window openings, it should in theory be quite a lot simpler in terms of the building, isn't it?
It's a pretty good building already, so we knew it would be perfect to convert.
Yeah. And just the numbers on that one, so we purchased it for 1.15 million, and our total construction budget for everything is 1.62, and the GDV is 4.1 million. Plus 22 flats. So. Well, you got to, it's a lot of flats to sell. So,
you good? That one is the strategy is to sell as well.
Yeah, I think for that we're going to retain some of them.
We would like to, as it's more of an opportunity to keep a few at the back end that we can add to our company portfolio. Yeah. We'd sell as many as we can to pay off the debt, the bank, and we've actually got equity investors in board on that one, who are going to get a profit share at the end. Okay. And we'll probably give them the option of if they want to be paid out through sales, or potentially they could keep some flats as well.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to try and see how many we can sell off plan, how many we sell, and then, if there's a few hanging around, then you can refinance those. It just helps you exit your. Okay. You know how expensive it is when it gets to the end. You're fully drawn down. Yeah. You just want to pay off that loan as soon as you can. Yeah. Pay off the investors, and developer gets paid last. But that's how it goes, isn't it? Yeah.
That's how it rolls.
Yeah.
No, it's great. Looks like things are moving in the right direction for you guys.
Definitely.
So
yeah.
Look forward to your story evolving as developers.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give to someone just starting or someone wanting to start in property development?
I would say get around people that are doing what you want to do. Network as much as you can. Get in the right rooms, speak to the right people. Talk to, if you're looking for investment, tell everyone what you're looking to do. Speak to family, speak to friends.
Yeah.
In terms of searching for sites, if you're very new to the game, potentially speak to some sources, and just put a plan in place of where you want to be and how to get there, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say, experience is a massive thing. Obviously, learn as much as you can and try and do as much as you can. If that just means spending like a few years doing smaller products, just get that experience, get that track record, and stick at it. Yeah. And eventually, the kind of things will come into place. You'll be able to do slightly bigger sites each time, and then after a period of time, then you can take on the really big stuff, which is what most people want to do. Yeah.
Right, we're going to try and wrap this up quite quickly because the temperature has just dropped about 5 degrees. It's
it's cold.
It's a lot colder than it was, but no, look, thanks for showing us around, guys. It's been interesting to hear your story.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Good to show you around.
Yeah. I look forward to actually seeing the finished products.
Yeah. Come down and see you.
Thank you.
Right,
nice.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, thank you. So back in the warmth. Yeah, so it was really nice to meet Dom and Steve in person. What an amazing story they have. Like they, just through sending one letter, they have now managed to acquire 2 sites that way. The site we were looking at is going to be making them 25% post-finance. So that's a great deal there. For me, hearing their story really took me back to, when I started and my journey starting my first project with my now business partner as well. I also started working on single small dwellings and slowly increased in size and in value. I mean, it's worked for me, it's worked for them, it's also worked for many other developers as well. From project to project you're learning, it teaches you about the fundamentals of developing along the way, you're adding to your track record. Lenders want to see you having gone through the cycle of completing buildings and exiting in whatever strategy you have in place, your exit strategies. When you start small, you're able to get through the cycle of doing complete developments very quickly. Before you know it, you'll be working on multiple unit developments and starting to use lenders, and then that's where your growth path really takes off. Dom and Steve's story is very inspirational. They are on a good path, and I can't wait to see where their journey goes. So for now, back into the office to work on our own projects. For anyone who's been following the journey on YouTube so far, you'll know that we've got a lot on our plate. We're going to be starting 23 apartments soon. We're going to be converting a building from commercial to residential soon, and we've already got a live construction site going on. 3 projects on site in a matter of months, 1 or 2 months. So a lot going on. So that's it, guys. That's the end of this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed filming it and finding out about their story. If you did enjoy it, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you at the next one.